Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to today's episode of the Startup.Tampere podcast. Today we're diving into Tampere's vibrant startup ecosystem and exploring the role of HUBS, the entrepreneurship hub for Tampere Universities. For you who are ever been wondering how students can turn ideas into businesses or what resources exist for aspiring founders, this conversation is definitely for you. Our special guest today is Mikko Sävilahti, senior expert in entrepreneurship at HUBS. Mikko has over 15 years of experience in the startup world, particularly in software development and business growth. He's the founder and former CEO of Haltu Oy, and a tech company that grew from smaller project maybe into a successful software powerhouse. Before that, Mikko worked in major IT services companies like Tieto and Digio, and he holds a master's degree in engineering from Tampere University. Today, as far as I understand, Mikko's mission at HUBS is to inspire students and to explore entrepreneurship, support growth-oriented ventures, and strengthen Tampere's startup ecosystem as a whole. He's also an active mentor and speaker in local networks here in Tampere. Mikko, warm welcome to the show.
Thank you. That was quite an introduction, and you have done your homework really well.
I think what we can say, Mikko, we are truly happy that you are a part of our ecosystem. But let's start with a little bit about your background. If you could share some thoughts and ideas a little bit about your journey. How did you go from being in engineering studies to leading actually a tech company and now supporting entrepreneurship here at HUBS?
Yeah, good question. I've been thinking that what are the things that have affected on my career, but I come from a family entrepreneur kind of stuff. We have been doing a lot of we had this strawberry kind of fields and that kind of things. We have a construction company. There we have been doing sauna laddles and everything like that. And we as a child have been there doing what we can to help and I think that I've been living in that kind of uncertainty and during the 90s and everything. So we've been doing a lot to just bring the food into the table, and I think that my parents had hide that really well, that there has been maybe some kind of problems and that kind of things. But I'm used to that kind of uncertain moments, and when I graduated from Tampere University of Technology at that time, I got hired directly to Tieto, which was Nokia subcontractor, and because I did mobile development, Symbian stuff, then I was immediately hired there and end up I think it was like a dream kind of situation. Immediately after graduation, I got a full-time job as a software engineer. But then this kind of big corporation world hit me slowly and painfully, I would say. I was basically the same project for 4.5 years. My roles changed a little bit. I got more responsibilities as a team leader and that kind of things. But the environment, it didn't change that much. It was really, it started to distract, and we talked with my colleagues at that time that should we maybe found a company or something like that, but they had that kind of situations in their life that they didn't want to take the risk, and I was all about that. I'm ready. I'm so fed up with everything that I would like to found a company, but that didn't happen that time. And then my solution was to change company. I went to Digio for a couple of months, because I resigned during the trial period there, and I had that kind of project where I could lead myself and implement the customer vision alone in a project with some of support guys there. But then I saw that, hey, I really can do this by myself, all the software stuff. And then I went back to friends from my previous job, and there was this one guy, Ilkka, who was also really fed up with the situation. He wanted some new challenges and a meaning to work life, and he did the decision really, really fast that, okay, I'm ready. We didn't know each other that well, but he was like, yeah, with you, I'm ready. I'm ready to go because you've been project manager. He's like this kind of really like a deep tech guy, knowing all the technology stuff. And if he doesn't know, he just finds out. And that was like the energy that I really, really loved. And we immediately wanted to like change the our work life so that we want to find small projects where we can help with our software expertise, find like startup companies to help, and so that we can decide our working hours and what kind of benefits we have, and having this kind of like a little bit better working life. So that was like the backstory of founding Haltu at that time, 2010. And from there, we agreed that we will just give jobs to ourselves. But after 2 months, our first customer was like, yeah, guys, we need to speed up the development. And is there anything you can do, or should I find a new company to help me? I was like, okay, we have to figure out something. And I don't know how it happened, but we started to look for trainees, software developer trainees, and found this one lecturer in Tampere, actually at that time, and he started to pass on us like his students who were talented, who we know that would be like really suitable for our team, and we hired immediately 2 of those, and then we actually hired a third one also, and it started to like gather up, and we did a lot of startup projects in the beginning, and like you said, small projects, and year by year the projects and maybe customers got a little bit bigger and bigger and went to the public sector and that kind of things. And now afterwards I've been thinking that I'm maybe a little bit more like a starter than like maintaining some kind of big business and running the daily kind of administrative stuff, which I did many years, because I was CEO for 13 years almost. And first the CEO was just like a guy who codes and sends invoices, but then it went to that there's HR and there is complaints and every kind of different stuff. A lot of stuff, but not those like which I really like and get the energy from, like those solving almost impossible problems maybe. And that's how, well, that's the reason I eventually started to think that is there a possibility that I would leave my own company. It felt like a super big decision, and I felt that I owe the company, I owe my co-founder, and it took many years for me to get to the point that it's okay. And then it took a couple of years to start really looking the possibilities, and yeah, last in the beginning of 25, we found a new CEO for the company. We had temporarily our ex-sales director as a CEO, but when he started pursuing his own company, we started to look for outside of our area, and found Otso, who is now our Haltu CEO, and when the thing started to like ramp up, I saw that now it's my time to start looking for a job outside, and for some miracle or something, I stumbled on a this kind of job advertisement that they are looking for. Entrepreneurship coach was the title, what they were looking for, but the job description was like something that if somebody would make a perfect job description for me or look just for me, there was everything. There was like the entrepreneurship experience, and there was experience in startup technology projects, and there was knowledge in business and that kind of things. There was everything that basically shouted out my name. And then I did everything to get the interview, because I knew that if I will get the interview, I will freaking nail it.
Yeah, I mean, this is great because listening to you telling your sort of backstory really goes to show the importance of having people like you in our ecosystem who have actually hands-on experience of growing, like establishing a company, growing in understanding the pain points. You mentioned already 3 key words there, which I immediately recognize. This falls right down the alley of the startup world. First of all, living in uncertainty, like you mentioned, like your own family story, from the strawberry fields to all kinds of different, like, smaller projects again, but still it all adds up to that you're comfortable in that situation. That is something that is probably required also in the today in the startup scene, and quite frankly so. Another thing that you mentioned that I find very, very interesting is that you mentioned about energy. You mentioned about what brings energy to you. And I think for a person in this role that you are now having, it needs to be the type of a person who brings the energy to the next generation of founders and understands, like, what is the best fitting, or what is the job fit for you. And obviously you found your own fit and energy in not necessarily in the corporate setting, but rather doing your own thing with your own co-founder and starting. And then the third one is the starting of something rather than managing on a long term. However, I do think that if you have been running a company for over 13 years, that is a long term.
Yeah.
But even so, I think listening to your story goes to show how important it is to have people like you in our startup ecosystem. And if we talk a little bit more about HUBS and the role you have there, and maybe for those listeners who don't yet know or are not so familiar with what HUBS actually is doing, and what do you offer to students and aspiring entrepreneurs, could you tell us a little bit about who can join to HUBS? Is it only for students? Can alumni or external partners somehow get involved? What is HUBS all about, kind of in a nutshell?
Yeah, that's a good question, because these are the topics that we are actually at the moment trying to solve also. Because from the starting point, HUBS is a team that supports sustainable entrepreneurship studies in TAMK and in Tampere University. So in the both sides. So in the Tampere Universities, and basically we offer a lot of different kind of support for the students, a lot of free choice studies. We have some minors also for university students available, so that they can pick that for their studies. And to your question, we from the starting point, our studies and our work is basically for students, but we are really proactive. We try to find all the students who are interested even a little bit about entrepreneurship, or sees that it might be a possibility in the future, and try to feed that kind of growth in there. And we also want to work with other staff, the lecturers in TAMK and university side, so that they can also give hints to their students that if they see that there's that kind of starts coming up, they might want to go further with some business idea that they got together, or on a course or something, that they know what is available at HUBS and in the whole Tampere University consortium. And and we also, of course, want to be active with the alumni. We are constantly following the companies that have left from universities, and we try to get them to share their experience for the current students, and that kind of like active support for everybody. And of course we work as much as we can with other stakeholders and organizations around us, like the whole Startup.Tampere ecosystem. We want to be there, and I don't know if I should like concentrate on certain people in the consortium, but that's not who I am. I want to find the right people and get the people connected together and help them to prosper. And that's something that I really like you said, get the energy from.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's that boils down to the whole point of our startup ecosystem is to connect different type of fields, people, everything from students to researchers, current businesses, aspiring entrepreneurs, different type of stakeholders, whether there's city officials or state, basically whoever. But the point is, like, how do we support in different corners and segments the whole startup ecosystem? And then, of course, students is one key asset to the whole plot, sort of. But if you are a student and someone is listening, whether you're a student or maybe you're a mentor even, maybe you're an experienced one and you somehow want to get involved in the activities what HUBS is offering, how does one in concrete terms go about it? So how do we get in contact?
Contact me. Yeah, so I can be contacted, but basically our website hubs.fi is good starting point. We have all the contact details there available, and we really like to be approached. We are not the ones who are hiding in the internet somewhere, but we are the ones who are really wanting that kind of cooperation. If you have even ideas about new courses that would be needed, like this, we're now talking a lot about this kind of growth entrepreneurship kind of minor maybe for the universities, so that you could have a nice add-on if you are a tech student or health student or whatever student, that you would have that like 30 credit worth of growth entrepreneurship studies. Yeah. That's something that we are now building together with the whole ecosystem and different stakeholders, and we are trying to pick there the most important things that are recognized by the ecosystem that is needed to be a growth entrepreneur. And that's maybe something that we haven't been in the past. There, our function has existed already from 2012, and after the universities merged into one, we've been like together with all the universities for 10 years, and the name changed in 21, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but there is a little bit doing with the brand. The brand is, although it's been already for 4 years, it's not maybe recognized for everyone yet. And some people think that we don't support all kind of entrepreneurship. That for example, we are not solution for tech entrepreneurs, or if you have some deep tech stuff. We are actively working with Henna and Juho, for example, who were in the podcast guests a few weeks ago, yeah. And that's something that we want to have, the unified studies, or the unified source for different kind of entrepreneurship studies, because you cannot say what an entrepreneur is, but you can support different kind of functions and help them. If somebody wants to have a cafeteria, it's okay. We have a solution for that. But if you want to grow your business, we have to have the support for that. From Tamp and from universities, but the ecosystem, the whole Startup.Tampere ecosystem, that's something that I want to be sure that I can help our students. And it doesn't matter if they are alumni or something like that, but I need to know how to help them the best way.
And there's something interesting there, what you mentioned about building kind of these bridges between whether you're interested in, if you are in research to business segment or in more SME type of business, doesn't matter. And that's kind of the whole point. The interesting thing is how I experience it here in Tampere. We are doing a lot of work currently in offering the opportunity, sort of integrating the thinking, the culture that, hey, entrepreneurship is actually an alternative. Because traditionally, maybe, I don't know if you can actually use the word traditional, but from looking at in the past, university studies have often aimed for becoming a scholar, researcher, teacher, maybe going for the public sector, but really this entrepreneurship as an alternative is something that I feel like, at least now when I talk with the folks from the university, whether they're from Tampere or Tunis, from the university side, doesn't matter. The point is that there is so much more talk about now about entrepreneurship, and and in my experience, HUBS is really about connecting those people and those dots and providing the kind of promise or support for the kind of a growth entrepreneurship, and that's why I see that HUBS is joining kind of the bandwagon of let's bring entrepreneurship closer to the students, if you like.
Yeah.
What do you see as some of the long-term goal of HUBS is at the moment?
Yeah, I think we have to be a strong player in the whole university consortium. We have to be recognized by basically everyone. That's something. We have been doing studies now with the graduating students, and over 30% of all the students in universities, they are thinking that entrepreneurship can or could be their career option. So it's there, and it's really, really, really strong. And there has been some surprises on some education areas that is there really that many of the people really interested in entrepreneurship? And when you show that to the teachers, they open their eyes more on the cooperation side also. And yeah, but in the long term, I think that supporting this startup ecosystem even more, the providing growth entrepreneurship studies, and maybe even like the master's program for it. It's a dream to have, and we are discussing if it's really needed, because entrepreneurship is this kind of like a cross-institutional or cross-educational function still, because you can be entrepreneur in any area of education, and that's something. And how we can together with the whole ecosystem, Startup.Tampere ecosystem, to make those companies who are born, or entrepreneurs who are born in the university side, how we can support them and have like a really tangible results with that. That's something that I want to have as many company ideas like founded during the studies as possible, and have people possibility to try and fail and try and succeed. And that's something that we are focusing, and we are trying to have it so that all the entrepreneurship related studies would be under HUBS, so that it's the one source of entrepreneurship studies. And so we have to cooperate within the universities, university side, because there's a lot of good entrepreneurship material and courses. Like Tres has this technology entrepreneurship course, which is like super successful and super popular, and there was something like 100 students or
I went to visit the course introduction this year, and I was really amazed to see 100 hungry, aspiring entrepreneurs in the course and participating, being very active, and in collaboration with the I would not say the grand old man, but the grand man of Tampere's ecosystem, Tommi Uitti, leading the course, and it was wonderful to see the sort of the spark in the eyes of the students, and sort of that only goes to show that there is actually a demand for these type of courses and these type of activities also for the university side. And I think that is very promising, and now it's time to sort of harvest on those opportunities, and that's also why it is so good to have this sit down and discuss with you, because you have the experience, you know how to run a company, and you know how to support, and I knowing you a little bit as a person, I like knowing also that you support these aspiring entrepreneurs in many different ways. Of course, you have the official programs, but you can sometimes in one way or the other, your mentor even, and that is also, you can push people towards the next step or next direction. You know that there is the services provided by Redstone, and if you have good students who have made a good solution, maybe you have the opportunity to push them towards Redstone, and then the other way around as well, that Redstone is collaborating with the university. And so I think there's many very good promising things happening now.
Yeah.
We are, of course, keep on pushing, the whole project together and so on. But if you look ahead a little bit, how do you see, how does the Startup.Tampere future ecosystem look like? I'm thinking about people who are out there, students toying with their ideas. They maybe have been, vibe coding, using a little bit Lovable or any of these solutions. And if someone is thinking about starting a business, what would be, based on your experience, both from Haltu but also prior to that and also now working at HUBS, what would be some of the advices you would give to these aspiring entrepreneurs?
Well, the first one is that try to use these services that the university and Startup.Tampere ecosystem is providing you. It's basically free. There is a lot of expertise. There are a lot of connections. There's a lot of help. There's good possibilities to find mentors, like you mentioned many times already, mentors and support, financial support even, and maybe co-founders and that kind of things. There are a lot of that kind of happenings, but at the moment I think they are not as popular as they should be, and I don't know if there's something blocking or something in their minds that this is not for them. I would really recommend to browse all the options and go and see, and then decide if that's something that's for them. Because from my studies, we did with my friends during like the studies. We had, I think, 2 or 3 ideas that would have been businesses if there was some help. Somebody would have been saying to us that, hey, this is really, really, really good. Just push on, and here's the help, and here's maybe grants that you can apply for, and I don't know, maybe I would have had like one company and during that time already, but instead I was like this kind of security guard in some store for a couple of months, after which I stopped that. But it was it's the resources, and when I'm seeing students, and I've been trying to advertise our studies a lot, I'm constantly saying that you should really use these services that you have here, and we offer those sparring sessions and everything. You can book time from me or my colleagues, and if you have any kind of questions, if you have just the idea or thinking about studies, or you are already like have the company ID, business ID, and what to do next, or you need connections, or where you should go after you graduate, or something like that. That we are there to like help everybody, and if you think about the numbers, there's already over 2,000 students who are taking our courses yearly. And it's growing like 20% per year. So you see that there's a lot of potential. It's not just like one course that has 100 participants, but there's a lot of different kind of activities going on, and I see that really promising.
Yeah, and I need to tag along that is a very interesting numbers that you just mentioned, because I'm also thinking about like today all the tools that AI brings for aspiring entrepreneurs to be tested, and I mean, it's typical that startups fail fast, they try and fail, and that's good. And it's a very good thing to do and try and have these different type of experiences. But if we think about the numbers you mentioned, and we add to the different type of tools that are available nowadays, plus in the equation all the support that you guys can provide with the mentoring, with the sparring. You mentioned you can book a time with you or your colleagues, the courses. that's quite an interesting equation to put together if we could scale that one day and have new type of companies be started. Because in my understanding, starting a company is of course never easy, but now you have so many different tools. How do you see, I mean, of course we don't have the crystal ball here, but if you would have the crystal ball, Mikko, what do you think? How does, with the current tools, you have experience in software business as well, so how is this landscape changing in the coming years?
Well, at least if you think about from startup point of view, that you need an angel investor or something like that. And before a couple of years ago, you might need only like a slide deck, something pitch deck, and you apply money with your idea and some nice photos maybe and drafts of your application. But today, if you start and now we are not talking about those deep tech startups because they require a lot of work and a lot of research time, and but they are in next level, totally next level. But if you have application ideas or business that somehow relates to technology, if you have the idea, you should have the prototype the same evening, basically. So you can, like you said, you can try and fail really, really fast. You can get the feedback from your idea, and I know that this is annoying, talking about AI tools and vibe coding for some people, but that's the reality. The vibe coding tools is now something that was these kind of wireframes or mock-ups like 10 years ago. I think that's the requirement, and you cannot get any kind of money if you have this kind of software-based startup idea if you don't have the working at least really, really good product already made by yourself. You don't need that technical guy in the team. You don't need when you're starting if you have the idea. But from the university and the whole Tampere startup ecosystem side, I really think that finding the right people for your company, the founding team, and like that kind of matchmaking is something that we really, really need, so that if you are in the research the business kind of work, you're really deep into that tech that you are doing. You might not be the person who is the first CEO or second CEO, or you are definitely not the sales guy, I think. But the whole ecosystem and this kind of matchmaking activities or networking kind of situations are really good for that because there is so many different education areas, faculties, that you will most definitely find right kind of people from there. And as we know that over 30% of the students really think about entrepreneurship, so it's not that you have to force somebody to be in a founding team in a company. And I think that's like a big challenge that we have to solve, to how those teams form, but also the mental thing about starting and doing the first prototypes. And you can basically do business plan, you can do customer segmentation, you can do bookkeeping with AIs, you can do that, everything. You don't have to know anything, but you have to be, of course, on the safe side when you start to have customers and customer data and that kind of things. You have to be cautious and then maybe start to think about all the things that might happen if you lose customer data or something like that. That's something that I want to emphasize. But you can prototype, pilot, get your first paying customers with really, really small technical work. But I think it's more in the shaping the idea that you have. Is your business model okay? And when you have to just go.
Exactly. So you have there's so much easier to test things nowadays, and then see whether it starts to fly or not, and then you can push forward if it works, and if it doesn't, go back home, rethink, redo, talk with the folks. I would also probably see the potential of like this within and outside and crossing through sort of the Startup.Tampere brand, like having different, like smaller communities sitting down together and working with their laptops, prompting, working with the ideas. And I think that's kind of like the doing mindset.
Yeah.
Like try out. There's nothing harm being done if you fail. Like just take the feedback and go further, kind of like. And I think that is something really valuable that what Mikko, you and HUBS are bringing to the community in a large picture of things. How about are there upcoming, if we go one step back again and think about like if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, you're a student and you would like to join somehow in HUBS, of course you can be in contact with you, but is there events coming, is there courses, what could be some of those things where what these students should be looking for?
Well, we have a lot of stuff, but first, if you are interested in founding a company, I would maybe start from Startup.Tampere calendar, because that's really, really valuable. It's working really nicely already, even though it haven't existed that long time yet. But there's a lot of good events and there's a lot of happening stuff in the universities and in the Platform 6. Redstone is... and Redstone, Crazy Town, Tribe, everybody is arranging a lot of different kind of stuff where you can start your networking and learn a lot of stuff, a lot of useful stuff. And I think that like the Platform 6 and Redstone FIBAN together, they are bringing a lot of super valuable lessons about how to get money and get funded and how to go to market and that kind of content, which if I had all the time in the world, I would attend to all of those, so that I could like share the information to others. And what was the question? I started to
if there are some
preach about this.
No, but it was about events as well.
Yeah.
It was. Is there? If I'm a student and I want to come to where can I visit HUBS? Let's put it that way. Yeah. If I want to physically visit you, I mean, of course, I can always drop you an email. But where does HUBS exist in terms of like physical spaces?
Yeah. Our main facilities are at TAMK. We have the C1, the floor. And our office there, and it's really approachable, and there's like a public working area where students go to like do their studies. And it's not depending on do you study at HUBS or not. We are there around, and at university we also have our own area, which is really really nice, and we are there present, and some of my colleagues, and then at in Hervanta, we also have a corner there, but I think we should be there present a bit more, so that our visibility there is better. But we are every week we are in all the campuses basically, and we have events. Our HUBS team and we have this kind of growth hacking team. They also arrange different kind of events, and that's something where we are really approachable, and we also try to do it other way around also, that I'm forcing myself, for example, to the different lessons, talking with the teachers and asking for 10 minutes like a takeover of the lesson, so that I can tell that we are here. That if I always say that if I want you to remember one thing, is that if it's related to entrepreneurship, go to HUBS. And
that's simple and clear.
Yeah, you have to be simple exactly. at that point, and that's something that I'm now trying to do like consistently. And when I've been here just for 4 months at the moment, but I've seen a lot of teachers and trying to get the network inside the university consortium also, that who are our best advertisers, and trying to fill the gaps there. And I'm also sharing my entrepreneurship like journey and that kind of things. Maybe that's feeding a lot of lessons, and we try to be present in any possible way. Like we had this AI and startups event, which we did so that we had a researcher from GPT lab telling about how AI is really beneficial for startups. That was like a 1 hour session, and then we looked for a university alumni to support, so that if there's a founder, we invited them to tell their stories to inspire. And we had this quite deep tech stuff when Juha Riippi was telling last week, was it, about quantum computing, which goes like. But I think it's really valuable that there's different kind of case studies from and real life experiences from their founders, and they tell their lessons that they've learned.
Absolutely. I mean, here in between, I have just to give the shout out to Juha Riippi and for how much hard work he has also been doing by showing and telling about his entrepreneur journey, because I think this is really what our ecosystem also needs. The story of people like you and Juha who have done it, so to speak, and really lead by example. So I think in this ecosystem we are very happy when we get these journeys and stories to be told, and I think that's valuable for everyone who is in one way or the other connected to the ecosystem. And because we have these successful cases as well, thinking about lifting up the bar high as kind of the last question. This is something we've been talking about also, with Henna and Juha. You heard the podcast about like the tunicorns and aiming for like the first big companies, startups from Tampere, or continue on that path at least to have those tunicorns or unicorns as whatever you want to call them. Kind of what do you think that should happen, or what kind of advice would you have for the different stakeholders in the ecosystem? How do we reach that? How do we get the sort of the ambition level even higher than today? What is it that we need to do better?
I think the cooperation should work even more openly. We should be really open, not jealous about that something overlaps. Of course, always something overlaps, and I think that's the area that we all have to understand that students will choose the best option for them. And then we should take everything now out of this attitude that we have at the moment. There's a lot of changes happen. There's a Tuukka Ahoniemi, for example, started as työelämäprofessori at university for sales, and then there's Pertti, who started just at Business Tampere. A lot of business background, experiences, connections, and ideas. And now I've learned that there's a lot of people who really want to help our students and our startups and our companies to grow and prosper. And I think that now when I've been asking about that growth entrepreneurship minor or this master's degree, I've been asking from a lot of people outside of the I would say normal stakeholder group, and they have a lot of ideas. They would love to help, and that kind of support from successful entrepreneurs that we have a lot in the area that should be taken within the whole Startup.Tampere ecosystem. And I think it is there, but making it even more approachable and share more the cases, that success stories that we have. That's something because that helps everybody to understand that there are different kind of entrepreneurs, there are different kind of companies, and And for some people, success means it's a lot like a smaller thing, like smaller money, for example, is success for some people, and some people are aiming to be global unicorns or whatever. So I think that we share a lot information, and we all share the same challenge at the moment. We want to have more companies. We want to have more startups. We want to have more growth companies, and I think that's something that will help with the employment and all the like economic side, and that's something that we have there. We have really good setup at the moment, and now we just have to believe that it works already. We don't see the results yet, but it's coming up, and I know that there's so many people who are doing all they have to make it possible.
That's right. I fully agree, and kind of like a call to action for the listeners who in one way or other could imagine, based on what they've been hearing today, help and support Mikko and Mikko's team in the work in progress. I mean, I assume we can be in contact with you either by dropping you a message on LinkedIn or sending you an email or whatever system you prefer. But I think this has been very good discussion about the openness and approachability to have these discussions, and thinking about how can we develop, how can we support students, aspiring entrepreneurs on their path, on the growth path, being said. And as a final remark, Mikko, it was a great pleasure to have you in this discussion with me today. I really appreciate that you sharing a little bit about your story. When we went from uncertainty discussions and energy levels all the way, how can we support the ecosystem to even become better, and with the ambition level, and really get those companies out there, out in the about, and do business and grow global. Students are a very important asset for a whole ecosystem. The collaboration between the startups, Tampere stakeholders, having the closer sort of presence of the both of HUBS and TRES and research to business sort of classes and everything. I think this is very promising, and I think we are on the right path. But of course, we are not done here yet, as I always try to emphasize as well, that more work needs to be done. But collaboration is the key here, I think. Would you have some final greetings for our listeners?
Yeah, I want to bring up an example, or maybe two examples that I've already faced during this four months. We have this grant for sustainable entrepreneur. It's a sustainable entrepreneurship grant that we are there is an application period every autumn and every spring, and we are basically funding. We have now fund for 100,000 euros every year, and it has been growing a lot. And we fund about 1/3 of the applicants have been granted, from 2,000 to 5,000 euros. And now I've met two different teams which has like a huge ambition level, and they both have been gotten their business ideas during last week, and another one is going for like a super big market, and I don't know where they got their expertise and knowledge about the things that they are doing at the moment, and I'm not sure how much I can share about the actual idea, but their target is huge, and they've been doing this kind of patent researches and that kind of things, and got their answer from them there, and that's something that it makes the energy levels like super high when you meet something that you are like, how can you do it? You are like 20 something, and you shouldn't have this kind of expertise, but they are just like pushing and finding out and making connections, and that kind of persons, I think they would be really valuable. If there wouldn't be students, they would be really valuable for the companies in the area, that kind of who go like through everything. And the other one, they have this application idea for elderly people, and they just started. They had their like social media campaigns going on, and they said that they got now over 200,000 views, and based on those views, an investor contacted them through LinkedIn or something like that, but they weren't even like actively looking for anything like that, but they were contacted, and they are also like doing really good job. And I think that the best that we can do is to make sure that they have like a possibility to grow, and they will find the right people, right, like in the Redstone. And I mentioned about Redstone, they were already that, yeah, we know it, we are going there. And that kind of things, but giving that information and giving the push to all that kind of themes, that's something that that we are doing that, and I think that it's gonna be great.
I think we have 3 key words to take off from this session. I think it's energy, it's the collaboration, but at the same time it's also the push.
Yeah.
So push them towards the right direction, not off the cliff though, but push them towards the right direction. I think this really summarizes the kind of like the really main points of today. Mikko, it was a great pleasure that you were here with me today.
Yep, thank you. And one point, sorry,
Go ahead.
I have to disrupt
okay.
a little bit. But I really have to say that I really appreciate that you invited me here, and it's been like it's super important to share these kind of things, and I really like the whole Startup.Tampere podcast concept. It's really valuable, and I think that more and more people should listen to these also, and not just the top 1 or not top 3 ones, and because this is something that shows that we are really doing the cooperation, and yeah.
And it's not only the most. Thank you for sharing this. I truly appreciate it. I think what is one of the aims of this podcast, that it doesn't have to be like listen once and throw it away. It's kind of more like maybe in half a year a student will find this recording and will pay attention and listen to it. But you will stay there. They can still be in contact with you. So I think we are now providing knowledge, or also for a longer term for use, and that's kind of the point as well. We explain who we are, we explain what we do here, and as you said, from your perspective, you're happy to collaborate with folks around who want to support hub starting students. Here as well, the same in the podcast, we are happy to hear and listen and different type of stories and ways how we support, because the final end game is the same. How do we keep supporting the startup scene, that we actually get those toonie or unicorns?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mikko.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you.